Hey, Gospel Community Leaders. 1 week till Easter. Super excited, but we have our next study in the Esther series, and it's exciting this week because it's about partying, it's about celebrating together, it's about being excited about what God has done for us and celebrating those things, reminding one another of those things. The main thrust this week is as God's people, and because of the finished work of Jesus on the cross, we celebrate God's salvation for us as a way of life. We should be the happiest people, we should be the most celebratory people, the most joyful people on the planet. And that doesn't mean, again, as Josh was very clear about on Sunday, we don't deny suffering. We don't, but we enter into it. We enter into sadness and sorrow with the power of the gospel, and so that allows us to rejoice in an authentic way, not a superficial way, but in a very authentic way, even in the midst of suffering. And so we are people who party, we are people who celebrate, we are people who remember all the things that God has done, is doing, and will do in our lives. And so that's the direction we're headed this week. That's what we're talking about. First, remember the announcements. These are very, very important this week. Please communicate these down to your group. And please, 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 please go into all of them. Tell your group, please log on to the city and volunteer for a specific role to fill on Easter Sunday morning. Please log in to the city and fill in a specific role. They can volunteer. It says Easter volunteers, and it has the date. It's a post on the city, and has the date of Easter Sunday, so that everybody can pitch in and do something. We will be hosting. We will be the host of a great party celebrating the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Also, please remind your group if they are going to be there on Sunday. Yes, especially those who are members and regular attenders of Redemption Church. Yes, this is a day of celebration, but we are also hosts, and so they should be ready. Everyone should be ready to volunteer in any way possible. This is a big day, but it's a big day for outreach. It's a big day for us to celebrate personally, but it's a big day for us to reach out missionally to the community around us. There's going to be a lot of people there who only come to church once or twice a year. There might be some people there who have never gone to church before in their life. They're going to get to hear the proclamation of the gospel, but they're also going to get to see the gospel displayed and us showing hospitality and humble service to them as we welcome them into our party and our celebration that Jesus is alive. So this is a big deal. Do not miss this announcement. Do not glaze over this announcement. Please encourage people to get involved by logging onto the city and volunteering for a role on Easter Sunday. If they're already assigned a role, they need to log on to the city and confirm that they will be filling that role. Again, that is in a specific event called Easter Sunday Volunteers, and it has a date on it. If all the roles have been filled, then they should come ready and expectant for the fact that somebody might show up late, or somebody might not show up at all, or the kids ministry might have overflow, or there might be more people there that need served food, or whatever it is, and they're going to have an opportunity to pitch in and to serve anyway, even though they haven't been assigned a role. So please hit that one hard. Keep inviting folks to Easter Sunday as well. Remind your group of that. And next week, again, is going to be a week that we actually practice what we're talking about this week, and we're going to party. We're going to have meals together, prayer together, times of just sharing what God's doing in our lives around a table, around a meal, or around food and drink and those things. And so, again, that's a great reminder to give to your group as well. Okay, let's talk about the questions. The personal question, again, you get the first things first question. That's going to give you an opportunity to just read the passage and talk it through if that's something you want to do. Again, that question can be left out, but please hit the other three, starting with the personal question, and this is going to dive into what threatens to steal your joy, and then in turn, how do we fight for our joy? What's it look like? God commands us to be happy, so that's a command. And so how do you command a feeling, and what does it look like to fight for our joy? And so there's an appendix attached, Appendix A, below, and there's about 6 or 7 links there that are going to help you to talk through that. Please check some of them out and be ready to discuss that. There's some things that tend to happen here. One is if the person is in sin, and so they're fighting for their joy means they're having to overcome sin, then that can lead to getting justification and sanctification in the wrong order. They start to think, I got to kill this sin, I got to fight this sin, I got to fight for my joy here. Or If I don't, God's not going to like me. That's wrong. That's the opposite. We stand secure, justified by faith in Christ. That's His gift to us, and we stand justified, and then we work for sanctification empowered by Him. So it's really important that that gets straight. And then a lot of times when people are fighting for their joy, that might not be a result of sin. It might just be circumstances in their life that are really, really hard, and they're working for endurance. A couple of those links touch on that stuff as well. So please check out that appendix before you hop in to discuss that. Hey, how are you? So get with that, and then the community question as well is going to speak into a few things that you're going to need to remember. Okay, so there's going to be reasons that we party. So you're going to be talking with your group. What are some reasons? What are some things God's accomplished in your life? Don't touch those. What's some things God's accomplished in your life that you should be celebrating every year or week to week or whatever? And so that's an opportunity to share those things with each other. Say, hey, I should be remembering the day that God cured me from this disease. I should be remembering that on a regular basis. I should be inviting people into that celebration with me. I should be remembering this or that God accomplished in my life, my salvation, my promotion in a job, saving my children, whatever that is. And what are those things? And then secondly, what are the ways that we do this? What's it practically look like to celebrate what God's done? In specific situations too, like something that's very specific to me is, the Acts 29 review that I went through and how God just turned that Acts 29 review on its head. And instead of me planting a church in Barbersville, He brought me in to serve as the gospel community pastor, the missional pastor here at Redemption Church. And so every November, how am I specifically looking back at what God did in that situation? What are the specific ways I'm going to do that? And not just those things that are specific to me, but also like Christmas, Thanksgiving, birthdays, things like that. What specific ways am I going to take Thanksgiving and use it as a time with my family or with my friends or with the people in my life, specifically use it as a time to remember and celebrate what God has done, is doing, and will do in our lives? And so that's what that question is all about. That's what we're digging at. So people might try to answer those questions in broad, general ways, but try to narrow down and get specific here. Like, we're going to do an Advent calendar this next Christmas as a way of remembering, or we're going to on Thanksgiving Day go around and say, what's one thing God's done in your life whatever. Okay, and not, it doesn't have to get that practical, but I think it could be helpful to share those sort of ideas with one another about these are the ways, because God's people had specific ways that they remembered, even to the things that they ate and the things that they drank, how they remembered what God had done, was doing, and will continue to do in their lives. And so we want to be that way. And we want to use every opportunity we have to celebrate and remember what God has done and will do in our lives. That's it. So please have a great week. If you need anything, let me know. Love you guys so much.